Hi, I'm Mark Raggett from ARM Architecture, and I'm here with
Andrew Lillingman from ARM Architecture.
and we're directors of the practice and have been working on this installation with Kaolin tiles for Saturday in Design. Our design is a conical anamorph sitting over a pattern of made from Kaolin's extraordinary tiles. Andrew, do you want to describe something about the conical anamorph?
Yeah, so the installation is, as it appears here, sort of, as you see it firsthand, is like a mosaic shield or a kind of wheel. The conical anamorph comes in with the mirror in the center. So an anamorph is really like a transformational exchange between a real-world object, that is the tiles around it, and what is being reflected in that 3D mirror, in this version, a cone.
So you can see that when you're standing in just the right position, you'll see in this sort of miraculous regeneration of the word eternity, reflected in what is the kind of white smudge of the shield behind, becomes reconfigured as that word eternity in the conical mirror. An accident, I suppose, of that reflection, which... Sorry, go on, Andrew.
I suppose the fun of it is about getting to that alignment point where that thing is revealed.
I guess this idea of kind of reflections and optical illusions and perspectival tricks is an idea in the visual arts that goes back many, many years. In this case, this is Hans Holbein the Younger's very famous painting, The Ambassadors, which has this strange kind of incongruous smudge at the bottom of the image. If you stand, again, in just the right spot, which is off to the right and very obliquely to the image, this skull appears, which is a kind of memento mori, a kind of reminder of death and of eternity that is otherwise incomprehensible if you just look at the image front on, which is where you'd normally expect to be standing, rather than looking at it from this oblique angle. And I think that idea of a kind of a memory or incomprehensible image of eternity buried somewhere in the work is again something that we've had a long-term interest in. For Sydney, of course, that word eternity has its own meaning and legend. Arthur Stace was a nearly illiterate veteran who used to get up at the crack of dawn and go out and write this word eternity in chalk all over the city. It said as a kind of calling, a kind of evangelism. And it was a bit of a mystery as to who he was for many years, because he did it before everyone was still in their beds. And so he was sort of known as Mr. Eternity, this sort of mysterious figure. And we're very interested in the stories of the city and the mythologies and legends of a city that build up to form the kind of identity of a place or of a country. And this kind of humble graffiti eventually ended up, writ large across the harbour bridge, and yet it has this frugal, subversive, underground foundation. And so it seemed like exactly the right kind of image for us to borrow when we came to think about this installation. And so here you see on the left a diagram of the conical catoptic anamorph, and then our version of it on the right. On the left, it would have been transcribed by hand, and on the right, generated digitally from inputs, which kind of output the kind of correct correct kind of transcription of that original image. It's only through that sort of translation device, the mirror, that it makes the incomprehensible suddenly readable, suddenly comprehensible. The Kaolin installation, kind of a kind of mosaic, but also a kind of bringing the world into the design. So not a kind of hermetic thing, but something that kind of brings these other references and these other thought processes into the design itself, particularly, I guess, through that word eternity, but also through this kind of mosaic pattern pointing out to kind of other architectural histories and stories as well. And I suppose the science and mathematics of illusions and of how we see and how we perceive the world.